Hello and welcome to a special episode of Default Assault. I am your host, Demosthenes, and with me today is our always awesome co-host, Mr. Kyle Nash. How's it going, Kyle?
Hey, at least you did not make the mistake of going, say hi, Kyle, so I can just go off on another rant to how you still haven't figured out this greeting stuff. I'm just saying.
In the great words of Magneto, they're learning.
They're learning.
So today on Default Assault, we are going to be discussing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Yeah, maybe it's a week late, but why not? We both saw the movie and we both have many things to share. Before we dive into Guardians Volume 2, I wanted to talk real quick. What are your thoughts on the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, Kyle?
You know, it represents actually at the time the single biggest risk the MCU made. This is them going, okay, look, we've got all this other stuff right going. Avengers was amazing. Iron Man kicked butt. Thor did what it did. Captain America was huge. And all that other stuff. We got a little time to mess around and do a little something. It's relevant to the Avengers plot line. That's why we kind of got to do it. But let's mess around, and if it bombs, that's okay. We're doing it so there's canon. And lo and behold, success. My friends, nobody expected the GOG to do as good as it did. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was going to be a bad movie. I'm just saying the way it did what it did was amazing. I would argue perhaps the only other MCU movie of its time, that's Marvel Cinematic Universe for those noobs who don't know better, would have been Ant-Man, which in itself I believe is still currently the lowest grossing of the MCU films, but still in itself most fantastic.
I think Incredible Hulk might be the lowest grossing, but I double checked on that.
That could be. It's still hard for me to count that as part of it because it was really kind of before the movement. I mean, yeah, they dropped a few things here and there in there. Oh, look, it's Tony effing Stark, and he's doing this, and everything short of calling out Higatus Figatus or whatever. Whatever. I suppose. Here's a question, Demos. If you're holding the Tesseract and you say Higatus Figatus, motherfucker, does that enhance its strength? It should.
I would say that it would be so powerful they wouldn't even need the Infinity Gauntlets.
Very nerdily answered. Carry on. No, but I really thought that Guardians of the Galaxy was a good movie, and it's something that's a little bit more tongue in cheek and doesn't try to take itself. It's more about the characters being somewhat goofy than it is about the main character sticking in a clever one-liner every now and again. You know what I'm saying?
Goofy, but not to the point where we're not taking them seriously. I mean, this is a film. I'll be honest, when I first saw the trailer for it, out of all the Marvel properties, it was the one I was least familiar with, and I don't think I'm an anomaly when it comes to that. But when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, the one thing visually that it reminded me of was Farscape. If you were familiar with the television show Farscape, it has that, of course, it was from the Jim Henson people. So anything from the Jim Henson people is always kind of wacky in its own way, delightfully so. But okay, I'm like, oh, I could see what they're going for. I wasn't expecting much originality, despite the fact I know what you're saying when you hear the phrase, you weren't expecting much originality. It's the weirdest of the Marvel films. Well, it's easy to do weird. It's hard to really get something that comes across as genuine. And Guardians of the Galaxy came across as a genuine fun time. Characters that you actually fell in love with and really enjoyed. I mean, this is a film that made you root for a murderous, psychotic talking raccoon and his oversized walking tree friend that made the Ents from Lord of the Rings look even more iconic than they already were. I mean...
Excuse me, that would be cybernetic raccoon. Thank you very much.
Oh, I apologize to all our raccoon fans out there.
Cybernetic raccoon. Okay, the only other place you would see that involves a Kickstarter project. I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh, there's a happy thought. Don't we have enough trouble with rabid raccoons that we need rabid cybernetic raccoons running around? You live in Florida. I know how horrible those things are.
You don't think we don't already have rabid raccoons already on the interwebs? Please.
Yeah, but do we need to make them cybernetic as well?
They already are.
Okay.
They call it cyberspace, dude. Saying.
All right. Well, let's take a step off the cybersphere and get back to reality.
Yeah, where things like giant trees sell in movies.
Yes, yes. Let's get back to the norm. So going into Guardians, it was probably, honestly, my most anticipated film of the year. Even more so, and this might come as a shock. I had much more anticipation for Guardians than I do of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I was psyched for this. Um, and I had some apprehensions going in, and I'm happy to report that a lot of them didn't play out. Although the opening scene did lead me to believe that one of my suspicions might prove to be correct. Um, but before we delve into spoilers, let's talk a little bit about what we felt about the sequel, and most of all, the burning question for those of you who haven't seen it yet, those two or three of you out there, does it live up to the original?
Look, man, I gotta say this, and this is going to be controversial because I know how many people, slobber all over the knob of freaking Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which I think is the most overrated of the MCU movies. Hold on there, fanboys. Take it easy. Overrated doesn't mean bad. It's just not as great as everyone seems to say it is. All right. Settle down before you go running out the side of a building to be caught by a helicopter. It'll be okay. What I think is if you take the movies in the MCU and take their direct sequels, right? Just 1 and 2. I know some of them have 3, for example, in the case of Iron Man and Captain America.
And soon to be Thor.
And soon to be Thor, right? The Ragnarok trailer, I'm just saying. No, but if you take the first 2 movies, the best 1-2 pair that currently exists in the Marvel universe is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Without a doubt.
And it just transitions so nicely. It gives you everything you want without being redundant. And it's said like it's something so simple. Well, how is that so difficult? All they got to do is do the same thing again. No, they do that. You fanboys and me and Demos and everybody else in this moviegoer will not be sassified. And yet they do find a way to sassify it. Everything is just different enough. They got a different villain than Ronan the Accuser, which I have to say as villains go, not super great, but certainly different. And oh, by the way, Baby Groot, amazing. Just throwing that out there.
I'm still stuck at Sassified. Were you an 1860s Southern Belle? I mean,
sassified. I only watch my movies until I'm satisfied.
We're gonna have to have a talk after the show. So to be honest, that is the pitfall that most sequels, especially from successful franchises, fall into, where they do a beat for beat remake of the original, and they throw in the same lines with a little bit of diversion and say, you thought it was funny the first time, wait until we do it 10 more times in the sequel. Oh, Jack Sparrow was kind of funny in the first one, let's make him a wild character who screams crazily and runs around like an idiot. No,
let's blow that mother up again and again. This is why Rogue One is better. I mean, what? Go ahead.
Yes, because that's the one thing we need more in Star Wars is more Death Star films. That hasn't been done enough. No, not at all. And you know what? Han Solo, spoiler alert, is dead. Every single Death Star that's been taken down has been taken down because of Han Solo. So without him around, they're all screwed. I can see why it's called The Last Jedi. At the very end, another Death Star is going to appear, the size of the sun, and it's going to take them all out.
and this Jedi is going to do everything. And at the very end, wait, where's Han Solo? Damn it!
I know. To quote the great late Han Solo.
Really?
Funny enough, I'm wearing a Millennium Falcon shirt.
Here's what funny is you're spoiling a completely different movie before we go to the spoiler warning for this movie. That's interesting.
If you haven't seen Force Awakens yet, you
climb out from under the goddamn rock and see the movie. Okay, please.
Screw the rock. You have a freaking mountain on top of you at this point. You're gonna need an excavation crew to come and get you.
I got nothing. Yeah. Okay. So, no.
That's why I win the Rogue One argument.
There's nothing wrong with going to see the fourth or fifth best movie in the franchise. It's still pretty good. Moving on.
But, funny enough, just because we mentioned Star Wars, a lot of people have described, especially the first Guardians, have described it as the first true successor to the Star Wars films. That the fun, slightly dramatic space opera, tongue in cheek, and I tend to be a little bit apprehensive when people describe something as the next Star Wars. Independence Day was touted as the next Star Wars. Every movie, any sci-fi film is touted as the next Star Wars. Pixar films are touted as the next Star Wars. So I tend, a lot of people compare it. It's the blockbuster of our time. But Guardians, the more and more I think about it, I think many films tried to replicate what Star Wars did. Guardians didn't and succeeded.
Yeah. I can't agree with that more. I feel like if you tried to make it completely serious, it would be a Star Wars clone and a far more inferior experience. Period.
Precisely. Hell, the prequels tried to do it. I mean,
I see what he did there. Yeah.
But no, Guardians 2, overall, I enjoyed very much. I believe that the first film is the better of the two. Volume 2 has a lot of things going for it. It is funnier. Something that could have easily gotten on to too much. They could have focused way too much on the jokes. And don't get me wrong, in some areas I do feel like they overdid it a little bit with the comedy. What I think they overdid in a far more egregious direction was the sentimentality. I think that James Gunn hits the nail on the head much better when it comes to comedy than he does during the sentimental scenes. And that's not to say that the film didn't succeed for a lot of those sentimental scenes, but I feel that a lot of them didn't quite land as strongly as they had the potential to. But overall, structurally speaking, it's not as strong as the first one. Tonally, it's a little bit off balance. But it has so much goodwill. The film earns so much goodwill, should I say. Has so many spectacular set pieces, and even more so, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Volume 2 succeeded at doing what Iron Man 2 tried to do, where you take the characters that are in that situation, you start to explore them at a more emotional level. And in Iron Man 2, partly because they're trying to set up the entire Avengers series, they overdid it. The Tony Stark ended up coming off as obnoxious. The character interactions were hokey. In this film, they really did take a step back and focus on the characters and their dynamic, and by pulling them apart and focusing on each one more in depth level, it actually strengthened their overall bond together. The Guardians are a genuine family. The Avengers like using the banner of family. The Guardians actually achieve it.
So for something that failed so badly on the sentimentality, it certainly had some sentimental things to offer you there, it sounds like. I don't completely agree with your take on this. There's certain things that Guardians 1 may have done better and been more structurally sound with doing because it had to be safer. They set the tone for more risks to be taken with Guardians 2, and maybe some of them don't land as well as you or I may have preferred to see. But there's so many things that are done so stupidly well in this movie. Oh my God almighty in heaven. It shouldn't have done as well as it did. First of all, can we please talk for just a minute about Dave Bautista being a goddamn MMA fighter turned freaking movie star out of nowhere and has more just success doing it? Drax, in my opinion, amongst the main GOG themselves, stole the damn show. Normally, you'd expect the cybernetic raccoon Rocket to do his thing and make all the quips and do all that, but Drax was your comedy relief here. Why? His story might have been a lot more simple. Hey, look, Ronan kicked killed my entire family, and now I'm back because I have a new one and I'm protecting them, and it's pretty damn great. But all the sentimental stuff that came out, I mean, when you call it what it is, Peter Quill in this movie, sure, Star-Lord's the air quotes main guy. He's Chris Pratt. He's dreamy. All that stuff. Does he really get the most screen time in this movie? Not ever so. There's a whole lot more going on. And I got to say, the ending to Volume 2, I thought was stronger than the first one. I like that they went the comedic angle with it, but there was a little bit of a cheesy moment at the end until Groot got involved. The Groot sacrifice wasn't cheesy, but all the stuff leading up to that, pretty damn cheesy.
From the first film. That's a spoiler for the first film. So if you're watching a video about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, chances are you've probably seen the first. And if you haven't,
step your game up.
Yeah. Finish our video, like our video, subscribe to our channel, and then go see it.
That's right.
No, we see, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the sentimentality aspect of it, the emotional weight of it, and how it doesn't quite hit home. It needed to hold on to its quiet moments. So a lot of the characters end up there. You have a wonderful setup. You've achieved the atmosphere of emotion, and then the characters describe it. Many times, and then have one or two additional little speeches and so forth that could have easily been trimmed and could have had a more resonating success. So yeah, that part was a little wonky. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of what the film, I like the fact that they took the risk and decided to focus on the character. I like the fact that it even though arguably the stakes are bigger, especially for a film, franchise called Guardians of the Galaxy, you would expect the galaxy to be at stake at one point or another. But this is very much a personal story, and it didn't go Age of Ultron on us, where it's like, okay, let's repeat it. Oh, we don't have a bunch of aliens, we'll make a bunch of robots now, and it'll be bigger. We'll have cities flying in the air and crashing on Earth, and I can go on about my problems with Ultron. But a lot of, I'm trying not to delve into spoilers just yet, but there's so many sequences in the film, especially, I'll say that too later, especially towards the middle of the film, that really make the whole thing worthwhile. Dave Bautista is great. I do feel that they slightly, and this is a nitpick, but they slightly overdid it with his comedic lines. I did like a little bit more of the stoicism his character had in the first film. It grounded the character a lot more, so when he did say the funny lines, they landed more strongly in the first one. But he's fantastic in it. The one person I really feel that stole the show was Michael Rooker as Yondu.
Sure.
He is the true star of this film, and that says a lot, because in the original film, I really didn't care much about his character.
No, me either. He was just, granted, he might have been the second best one at the time. He was just another bad Marvel villain that we were all going to make fun of later. And all of a sudden, now he gets a lot more stuff. And oh, by the way, I'm not going to, if some of the cameos are spoilers, I won't say who it is. Love the cameos in this damn movie, though. Holy snap, Demos. All right, class. Spoilers, bitches. Spoilers.
But no, it's funny. It's funny that Drax stands out so much because out of all the main Guardians characters, he's the one that doesn't really have a big arc because a lot of his backstory was established well in the first film. They didn't need to go too far into it
Yeah.
again. If anything, if there's one thing that did feel repetitive from the first film, it was the Gamora Nebula encounters. Now, I love the backstory that they gave Nebula. I mean, it's a harrowing story. It's a tragic story.
Yeah.
But we already saw them duke it out in the first film a few times, and then again we have to see them duke it out in this film, even though we know where that story is going to a degree. They could have trimmed a little bit there. They kind of overdid it. If there's one of the arcs that kind of fell flat for me, that was it. But it gets points because of what they revealed about Nebula. It actually made me care for a character I didn't really care too much about. And I'll tell you this, Karen Gillan, I love her. She's adorable. Which is surprising being that she's such a despicable character.
I gotta say this, dude. I when I saw the Nebula and Gamora thing revisited, I'm like, the hell you didn't give me more of this in the first film for? They were just rivals the whole damn time. There was no oh this, oh that, but then I guess we're blaming Ronan for that. I don't know. But now that Ronan's gone, maybe that's what they're trying to do. I don't know. Um
They're
guess
building up because Nebula has a very distinct role to play in the Infinity Stone series.
okay, well this is stuff I don't have in front of me, but I'll
Yeah.
say this. Um I I'm with you that was the least air quotes least interesting. Again, fanboys take it easy. I'm not saying it was a bad experience. It was a fine story, but compared to the others, it was the least interesting. But if that's your weakest link, you got one hell of a chain in this movie, man.
Well,
Simply,
no, I don't think we disagree. But well, I don't think we disagree. We both really enjoyed the film. I still believe that the first one is a little better. But let me give you three bullet points about things I really enjoyed about Guardians. A, unlike the Avengers, this is a film that has multiple characters, multiple main characters, and they handled them very well. Each character got the appropriate amount of screen time. You felt like you connected to every single one without it being convoluted and crazy. There was no Hawkeye shit where he's possessed and you don't actually see him for more than 3 minutes in the film as himself, or it wasn't the Iron Man show.
right.
Number two, uh, it is by far one of the funniest films I've seen in quite a long time. And I'll tell you this: in my theater, I heard full on belly laughs, especially the scene with Baby Groot trying to retrieve an item and bring, and he keeps
Oh,
fumbling.
that shot amazing though. Oh my god.
There was one laugh in the theater that was so loud and pure that the laughter in the whole audience just kept going because of that. And I haven't experienced that in a film, let alone no a traditional comedy in years. Years. I'm not saying there have been no good comedies in years. I think the last comedy I really remember of my entire theater really going crazy over, and the few people that actually that saw it that opening weekend because it disappeared afterwards. Although now it's become kind of a cult classic. Is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, um, also with Robert Downey Jr. Pre Iron Man. Oh, that film would have done baller at the box office if it came out just a year later. Um, and number three, the apprehension I was talking about earlier. My big apprehension going into this was, okay, they have Baby Groots. They're gonna want to sell the toy line. They're gonna overdo it, and I like the way they handled it. James Gunn kind of played coy with it. They're like, you want Baby Groot? Opening scene. Here's your Baby Groot.
Oh my god. How about that sequence though?
And that's
Oh,
a lot of fun. And then they used him well throughout the rest of the film. They got that out of the way, and they got that people salivating for this creature. They got it kind of out of the way at the beginning, and then throughout the film, he was used effectively. He actually started caring for Baby Groot on a level that I didn't expect, and especially that once again that midsection scene, which leads to what I think is one of the most well choreographed scene I've seen in a long while, and that was the Yondu escape scene with the arrow going through the entire army of Ravagers, and
About that for just a second. Why am I laughing my ass off when this spaceship is literally raining friggin' dead people? Oh my god! All right,
Disney.
that is the right. That is the proof that this movie is great. You laugh your ass off while the ship is raining dead people.
It makes you wonder if think about how crazy this is, right? So you have Guardians of the Galaxy, where you have raccoons murdering people left and right. That one scene in the forest, it
Yeah.
was a Warner Brothers cartoon come to life. But they the one scene where they're it's happening, like it's going up and down. The bodies are flying up and down like a seesaw. But my point is, there's so much. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised, especially with the villain at the end. Some of the gore on him. I'm actually kind of surprised it got away with a PG-13 rating. It barely must have gone by.
It was very cartoony in some instances. But Demas, I have to ask you this before we lose it. Talking about again, like the Yondu going apeshit in the spaceship and his victims raining from the sky within this large spaceship. Would it have been too on the nose, to use your phrase, to go with "It's Raining Men" to be playing in the background?
Well, you just found the one way to just completely decimate that scene. Thanks.
Hey,
Congratulations.
you're welcome.
But not all the Ravagers were men, if I remember correctly. He probably killed quite a few Ravages? What's
Jesses? No, well,
Ravagesses?
it could be men in the soldier sense.
Ranjanfinas? No, but what I was getting at is okay. So here's a film that is it is it's aimed at the same audience that Star Wars is aimed at, and they go through all the trouble to re-edit. The one scene in New Hope where Han does, so he doesn't shoot first, so it doesn't, we don't want to send the wrong impression about violence. And then over here, on the other hand, you have Disney,
It's
land of Mickey Mouse, who might also make a good Captain America.
You're still wrong
I've never been more right.
about how wrong you are.
That doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
It would be a hell of a movie slogan.
but pulling this off, in many cases, I think that out of all the Marvel films, this is the one where the heroes rack up the highest body count on their own.
Not counting Sokovia, I guess.
Yeah, well, they were killing people themselves. I mean,
Or the elevator scene with Captain America and Winter Soldier, the best part of that movie. No one's dead. They just got their ass kicked.
Yeah, but that doesn't fit his character as much. I mean,
I know.
you know,
I'm just throwing another example. That's the other extreme, right? There's an elevator full of people, and Cap might have to take out one or two just to make the odds okay. Nope, didn't even need to do that, nor did he do it. Meanwhile, it's a raining man. You know what I'm saying? There's your extreme.
I'm just trying to put together the living, walking tree. It has racked up more of a body count than Captain America.
Or Mickey, right?
Hell, I think Baby Groot probably. Well, no, he did kill quite a few people in First Avenger as well. I don't know. Like there are people that have sat down and counted up how many people that James Bond has killed. I'm sure they've done the same with the Marvel films.
Yeah, but he's licensed to kill people. I'm saying.
The film opens up with another de-aging effect, and I thought it was the best one since Michael Douglas and Ant-Man. I don't think it was as good as the Douglas one, At the beginning, the very beginning, he seemed a little wonky, but they have definitely they are improving on the mouth movements, very much so. I think.
I was way too distracted by the Dairy Queen. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, that was nothing short of amazing. I went to see the movie with my wife. She was absolutely flabbergasted. Um,
It is a
I,
visual wonder. Right? It's a lot of fun to see. I mean, multicolor Fuhrer space battles are I mean, they're colors. It's not gray, black, and blue. There are colors.
I'm just saying. Yeah, no. And that's something that goes with the 70s, 80s ish feel of the Guardians is to make sure you got to have elaborate color if you're going to go that direction. But obviously, what they did in with the aging with Kurt Russell and all that, and let me tell you, him playing the Celestial, that was a difficult villain to pull off and take seriously. I'm a god, but I'm not, and I'm immortal, but I'm a man, and I'm not. I'm a planet, really, and it was just wildly out there, and I still feel like I followed it, and I still feel like what was trying to be laid down was easy enough to pick up. And in the past, villains like that don't play in other franchises. A villain like that is what completely ruins, for example, Star Trek V. But the punchline being, the only thing that was cheesy surrounding the Celestial had nothing to do with it personally. It's the one moment when I get, okay, stop, that's enough, was when in the battle between him and Star-Lord, and because of his lineage, he found out he can manipulate powers, and then that kind of generates to our final battle. It was a bridge too far when the Celestial's like, Kurt Russell, I'm gonna fuck you up, and then Quill's response is to be Pac-Man. That was just dumb.
Oh, you're nuts. That was a crowd pleaser. If anything, I think
Stop
the
it.
ending should have had a little bit more fun with that concept. Okay, you're gonna have characters that have godlike powers, and you're gonna have a character like Quill, who his entire being is bathed in 80s nostalgia, and he's not gonna pull something like that off. You're kidding me. That I think that fit into his character well.
I'm not
Yeah, well,
saying
it was over the top, but it was fun over the top.
I laughed at him like, well, no, I'm not trying to say it was bad, but I did stop. Oh, come on, man, really? I'm saying that as I'm laughing, but maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe that's how I'm supposed to respond to it. Maybe that's what they're looking for.
The call out to one of my personal favorite films. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
No, that was great. Mary Poppins, y'all. No, that was great. That was real great.
Oh, that was fantastic. Yeah, I thought the ending, some parts kind of dragged out a little bit, but I think it was those moments that really brought everything together. Um, but no, Kurt Russell. I didn't mention this in my review because I didn't want to give away the twist that he's the villain. Although I don't think it's I don't think it came as a surprise as I'm watching it. I kind of saw where it was going. I mean, you set up a character with this much power. Yeah, you have a character here that has the power to destroy the only character in the film that has the power to destroy the galaxy in a film called Guardians of the Galaxy. What do you think is going to happen? I mean,
who, by the way, happens to be immortal. Oh, that the guy. Well, I'm immortal. Oh, and you're a dead motherfucker. How does that work? Seriously.
well, how does it work that Star Lord loses his powers if his dad dies? That's like, okay, so if my dad dies, and I die too. I lose my powers. I can't run anymore. I mean, that doesn't make sense. I mean,
I can't randomly turn into Pac-Man. What the is this?
that's the question I ask myself every morning. God damn it! Why can't I turn into Pac-Man? All the things I can solve, all the fruit I can eat.
You definitely wouldn't be solving world hunger. I'll give you that.
Quite the opposite. Best use of Pac-Man. That one scene, that 10-second scene, was better than the entirety of Pixels, and I'm including the damn trailer.
Of course, you could tell that thing was going to be a turd long before it got to the toilet. I want to get to one thing real quick.
Yeah.
Did you see it coming that they would try to make the character that relates to Yondu. Screw this whole surrogate father BS they try to put together. I mean, that was adorable. I think they did that well. Maybe they dragged that out a little too much, but okay,
That's the
fine.
kind of thing I'm talking about.
But with Rocket and Yondu relating to each other, oh, I like that. I'm sorry.
I actually left that off my bullet point. Inspiring. I mean, the film basically took all these characters apart and put them into pairs that you may not, some of them you would expect. You'd expect Star-Lord and his father, and you'd expect Gamora and Nebula, but to put Drax with a character as wild and erratic as Mantis, and to put Rocket couldn't exactly have the same kind of relationship he had with Groot from the first film, because he's literally dealing with, it's not just a small Groot, he's literally dealing with a creature that is mentally an infant. But putting him with Yondu was inspired. I can't even think if they actually shared a scene in the first film. They may have been on screen together, but I don't actually remember them really having any significant exchange.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought at first that they were gonna do something with him and Nebula. They almost kind of set it up that way, kind of like the two outcasts because he has cybernetic parts, she has cybernetic parts. I thought that was initially what they were gonna go with.
And if they did it, you'd have said it was too on the nose. And in this case, I think you're right.
So overall, I think we both enjoyed it. I still maintain the first film is a better film, but this one may be more fun to watch. Overall, it is much funnier. It does hit those belly laughs, and it doesn't feel like it's. I think it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It doesn't feel like it at all. Oh, since we're on spoilers, did you catch the surprise cameo during the credits? There are a few cameos. There are a few major cameos. We didn't really talk too much about Stallone.
Which, quick side note,
yeah,
watch a movie that was made up of that squadron with Stallone and Ving Rhames and all that, because I sure as hell would. Anyway,
well, that's what I was going to get to. Stallone, you have Michelle Yeoh. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I never learn how to pronounce people's names. Michelle Yeoh, I think. Ving Rhames. One of them was voiced by Miley Cyrus, oddly. They're the original comic book Guardians of the Galaxy. Those characters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so apparently it's a setup for they may have a significant role. You don't cast somebody of Stallone's caliber for 2 minutes. They're setting something up. But no, there was, another surprise cameo. No, it's not Stan Lee. Everybody expects, although this is probably his best cameo by far. And of course, David Hasselhoff. He has
so brilliant.
He has a couple of them, but no, a Thor Ragnarok cameo during the trailer. Did you see Jeff Goldblum?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I didn't know what to make of him being there. I didn't know that was a Ragnarok drop, but now I get it.
Very, very, very odd. I remember watching the credits, and there are like 5 end credit stingers. So everybody's attention was on those credits. Very well done. I like all the in jokes and the I am Groot turning into credits. I thought that was really cute.
Oh, that was so great. Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum makes everything better.
Apartments.com commercials. Just gonna throw that out there.
Have you ever seen those videos online where they slow down Jeff Goldblum by like 0.5%, and he just looks like he's raving drunk?
No, but I'm able to picture that somehow.
Especially the way he stutters.
You gave me away. That's your most embarrassing secret, Jeff Goldblum. You look drunk when you're slowed down. Ha 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 ha. Anyway,
it's chaos theory.
Yeah, that's I can totally picture. I haven't even seen these videos yet. I feel like I'm watching it in my head right now.
They're absolutely brilliant. So overall, we both really enjoyed the movie. You guys should go out and see it if you haven't already. Definitely stay tuned for 5 mid-credit scenes.
Yeah. It's a Marvel. Be in the damn theater. Know your role. God, come on. Anyway,
The last one is definitely a hoot. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us where we do Default Assault every Thursday night, where we talk about crazy topics, as in, which Disney character will be the best Avenger. My picks are, of course, incredible. Kyle did his best. And make sure to like and follow me on Twitter at Default Hilarity. Find me on Facebook at Hilarity by Default. And also check out my own website, hilaritybydefault.com, where I did review Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Kyle, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG, and on Facebook, there's a Student of the Game page, and you will find me there thrashing Demos in his efforts to try to outpick me in the Avengers lineup for the Disney animated characters. Thrash!
I don't even need to dignify that with a response. I think the audience is going to see the awesomeness and the power and the ingenuity of my picks.
You know what? I'm already going to beat you in this argument because you set me up. Take it as figure, this motherfucker. Boom! I win!
I made up that line in the first place. So retroactively, I win.
Anyways, no, seriously, those episodes, we already seen the heroes one by now. That one was a lot of fun. I think the villains one is nice. I definitely like that one as well. Not nice as in, oh, that's cute. I mean, noise. So, yeah.
Well, with that being said, we'll see you next time by default.